Welcome to episode 48 of the My House podcast. I am not Michelle Overstreet, but I am Isaac Smolden, and today I'm joined by Alyssa Markham, grant writer for My House, and Michelle Parker, who is the Halcyon Garden Program Director, Project Coordinator?
Greenhouse Project
Manager. It's one of those combinations of words, and we are going to be briefly discussing a project that's going on at the Carson Cottle Center property as part of this series of podcasts that we're doing about all the new programs that are happening. So thank you for joining me, ladies. Super cool project. We have talked about Halcyon Gardens, but now this is a big step up in addition to Halcyon Gardens that is going to be happening on the property as during and after the construction is complete.
Yeah, this is a 5-year grant that we wrote to RollCap, and we're super excited about it. Michelle helped me put it together, so this will allow us to have fruit trees, some berry bushes, some edible plants all throughout the new property. And it's going to allow us to work with community members on different classes. I think we've talked about doing some canning projects with what we harvest while the clients are learning the process of beginning, during, and after harvest. So that's up Michelle's street, but we put together this grant, and it's been a really fun opportunity to work with the girls over at RollCap and get this going. I think we have like 6 apple trees, 6 cherry trees.
Yeah, we haven't bought anything yet, but I've did a bunch of research on where we could potentially buy some from different nurseries in the area, and I think it's super exciting because I don't think a whole lot of buildings out here in the Mat-Su Valley, or maybe even in Alaska period, has a food orchard around their organization. Because a lot of times you'll see like things that you see all the time, like non-edible things and things that just look pretty and whatever. And so I think it would be really cool because, you know, we could be engaged with the community of showing different things that are edible and that are sustainable in Alaska, different things that you can harvest at different seasons, and how you can preserve those things. And I think it's a great opportunity, especially for our organization, because you know, the whole point of our organization is to upbring our clients and bring them out of poverty and show them how to get a job, how to get your own place, and to maintain a budget. And I think a lot of goals, too, is to own your own property, own your own land, and which would be a really cool thing to teach some of our clients, because if they do end up having their own property, potentially, they could be like, oh, I know that apples can grow in Alaska, or cherries can grow in Alaska, or blueberries and salmon berries and all these other cool things that can grow here. And
Which, fun fact, Isaac, did you know plum trees can grow in Alaska?
I did not know that.
Apricots can grow in Alaska.
What?
And walnut trees can grow in Alaska. Chestnut trees can grow in Alaska.
We learned a lot.
Yeah.
Right in this grant.
Well,
Yeah.
and you recently went to a training in Anchorage that was associated with that, correct?
Yeah. So the first day, we had National Park Service there talking about the foundation, like you should look at your foundation on your land, and like if animals are going to cross through that land, if you have a creek running through that land, the different elevations of the property and where the sun shows up. And
so like very in depth.
Yeah. And so it was really cool to think about all those different things, because sometimes you think, oh, I'll just place some plants right here and hope and pray that they won't die.
Yeah.
Don't talk about my backyard like that.
Well, and this checks a lot of boxes for us, right? Because right now is the cool time of year because you're harvesting everything from the garden. We're able to use that for supper club, but now this is going to really increase, getting a lot of fruit, getting a lot of cool stuff that we don't always see up here. I mean, very rarely, unless it's just on someone's property, do we have anyone that's harvesting apples or cherry. Basically, Michelle's parents are the only people that I know that do it on a large scale, right? And so we're going to be able to have that all here. And then we've been talking about and done maybe some small scale stuff with like preserving and canning and making jams with different stuff that is coming out of the garden or people bringing different stuff in. But now it's just going to be able to be a regular part of kind of the year for us and for your program. And I think that's a big part of a lot of Alaskans' season. I think a lot of families will know that jelly and jam season is coming up and do the blueberry jam and the raspberry jam and the mossberry jam and low bush cranberry, all sorts of stuff, right? And we're going to have a lot of that right on the property. So for people that are used to that and have that as part of their family season, they'll be able to experience that while in housing. And if they didn't have that growing up, then we'll be able to show them what that's all about and walk them through every part of the process, from the picking to the cleaning to the canning, the cooking. So it's really, really cool how not only is it going to be a big step for your program, but it's encircling like men's and women's empowerment, the cafe, and opening a lot of really cool doors for us that we can build off of.
It's cool because it's the plan with it. We've been working with the National Park Service is that it's not necessarily going to be in all of one area at the Carson Cottle. It's going to be throughout the property, so all along the Blind Nick Trail that we'll have through it. So that's going to be really cool to be able to have clients go out, have a healthy choice that I want to go take a walk today, pick some apples today, and not, have other options.
Right. And we cut down a lot of trees. So maybe we'll splice in some of the video of the property that I got today, but we have a lot of room to put some trees back, which is part of the plan, right? And when it can be part of the landscaping, like you said, Michelle, it's not necessarily just the basic stuff that we see. It's not only cool stuff that maybe, fruit-wise we don't always see up here, but then edible plants wise, it is a lot of stuff that's native to Alaska. And that's a really cool thing that I don't think you see a lot with a project like this.
Mm-mm. Yeah. And with the training too, I met so many amazing people throughout Alaska, and a lot of people are doing really cool things with like community gardens and everything. And so I think that having this will definitely make us a little bit more unique than we already are.
It's definitely been a fun one because I know you met people from down with Southeast and Ketchikan. They have some projects down there. There's a project in Nome through this group. So, I mean, this isn't just only us in this group, but it's cool to see what is being brought to us and to Alaska for this grantee.
Yeah. 100%. And food sustainability is something that's difficult for when a lot of our stuff has to get shipped up via barge. Mm-hmm. It's always a concern, and I know that governmentally people are always looking for ways of how can Alaska be more self-sustaining, right? And so this is a piece of that as well. It's a cool thing that we get to be a part of, where we can encourage people to be more self-sufficient, grow their own stuff. Because like you said, Michelle, we have a lot of clients that will end up with their own property, with their own houses, with spaces that they can grow stuff. And you just don't know if you don't know how that process works, what you're even capable of planting and growing. And so we can, even if it's not for a job or for a, something that is going to help them career-wise, it is a piece that they can add to their tool belt of, hey, this is something that I want to do. I want to be able to grow my own vegetables or fruit or whatever, gather my own berries for my family. And that's a big part of a lot of folks' lives up here.
Yeah, especially living out here where everything's so spread out, and it's like you can get fresh fruit, but you have to travel like 15 miles to go get fresh fruit. And so I think it would be definitely beneficial for those clients and or staff who are interested. And so
do we have a connection yet for our trees? I know we've been back and forth on that one.
yeah, so I did a tour with Seed and Trees out in Palmer. This guy and his wife, they run it. I think it's been open since 1987 or something like that. And he's close to being like wanting to sell the property and have somebody else take over in a couple of years. But he said that springtime is the best time to order and buy trees. And so this spring, or this coming up spring, I'll probably head back over there and put a down payment on a lot of the trees. And then I might have to get some other trees from different places too, depending on what he has in stock. But it was really cool to see all the stuff that he had there, even though the season's like coming to an end, and all the stuff like in the greenhouses and nurseries are like everyone's just kind of getting ready for the winter.
Closing up shop.
But then in the spring, we'll have all of our little tree babies.
Yeah.
And we got some really good garden photos this year. So next spring, we'll have even more photos of our little tree babies that are going to go onto the new property and grow into our beautiful adult trees.
Yeah, and the cool thing about the training too is Boyer's Orchard partnered with them too, and they like did a little grafting thing. And so like learning the whole process of like how trees can grow in Alaska is so crazy, because all the fruit trees that you do see in Alaska more than likely are grown on crabapple root stock. And so like I never knew that, until like I went there. I was like, dang, that's so crazy to find out that all of our fruit trees grow on crabapple roots.
It's the one thing that'll grow. And I like a good crabapple jelly. So crabapples are not for everyone, but you can use crabapple. No crabapples?
Yeah.
I love crabapples so much.
Yeah.
But maybe that's a me problem.
Well, and that's why they have that. Like people are like wanted to test out like what they can grow, and so they started doing that. And like so a lot of your apricots and all that other stuff is grown on the crabapples, because the roots of the crabapples can withstand our harsh weather here.
Yeah.
So
permafrost and bad soil
yeah,
and no sun and
yeah.
all the problems that come with trying to grow up in Alaska.
Right.
So,
Yeah. So
crab apples, a symbol of resilience. Maybe we can do something with that. There's something there. We'll ask Julia about it. It's going to be a future redemption shirt.
Yeah.
Just be a crab apple tree.
Julia, if you're listening, we need a crab apple tree, please.
100%. Super exciting. A big piece of what's going to be going on the outside of the building over the next couple of years. So congratulations to you guys on receiving the grant and for all the hard work that you guys have already put in on the paperwork side. And coming soon, we're going to be able to have nice pictures of all our wonderful little green things that'll be going on the property.
I mean, I think we might still be, if anyone wants to donate once we get over to the new
You
building.
have crab apple trees that you want to donate.
Crab apple trees.
Bring them over.
Blueberry bushes,
Yep.
raspberry bushes. We're looking for a little bit of everything.
Yeah, do love raspberry bushes.
I do love me a raspberry jam.
Golden raspberries, good mix.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm jealous of all the people that just have golden raspberry bushes on their property.
Yeah.
100%.
Oh, and by the way, like I'm working on hopefully getting a lot of salmon berries around the trail too, because
You never get to see those.
yeah, like
know.
I mean, you hear about it like outside of the city limits, where like you have to travel to
Yeah,
3 hours.
Yeah.
To find
100%.
yeah
5
100%.
salmon berries.
And they're so
Yeah.
good. They're so good. If you've got an abundance of salmon berries, somehow give us some.
Josh Smith at Bear Mountain Forest Nursery has been working with that a lot. He's mentioned that he just crushes up his salmon berries, puts it in a patch of soil, and hopes for the best. Maybe it'll come back next year. And it did.
There we
All
go.
of it came up next year, the following year. So he has a lot of little baby starts of salmon berries.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing is you're going to go pick a bunch of salmon berries, crush them up and put them in some soil and start some starts for us.
Well, then
So
people
we're
will be able to
ahead.
visit us for salmon berries instead of having to drive 3 hours. It'll be much better, right?
Yeah,
Hopefully not all of
hopefully.
them, because then we still need to
Yeah,
use them.
we could hold some
Just
classes.
Yeah.
Just leave us a couple, guys.
Yeah, just
Come
a few.
pick them, just leave us a couple.
Just a few. Okay, well, thank you guys. That's all the time we have for today. Thank you, Alyssa. Thank you, Michelle Parker, for being here at My House Podcast. Is recorded at the My House studio in West Alaska. Our producer and editor is Ozzie Keener. And for Michelle Overstreet, I'm Isaac Smolden. Until next time.